pretty young audiences, the awesomeness of My Little Pony notwithstanding. But this week I'm going to go to the opposite end of the animation spectrum and talk about something a little bit more adult. Now, I'm probably not going to talk about these kinds of shows very often because they aren't usually really my thing. I mean, I can watch something like Family Guy and enjoy it, but it's not something that I'm going to fangirl over or anything. But for whatever reason, I have totally fallen in love with Archer.
There's a man who leads a life of danger. To everyone he meets, he stays a stranger. When every move he makes, another chance he takes. Odds are he won't live to see tomorrow. Secret agent.
Archer is, to be blunt, terrible. It's very dark humor and features a cast of really awful people and generally pokes fun at the least appealing aspects of human nature. It is a spy comedy centering around an intelligence agency called ISIS. It's got the James Bond figure, the drop-dead gorgeous knockout spy chick, as well as everyone else who works here, like the human resources lady, the secretary, the accounting guy, yada yada. And everyone in this show is just a really, really terrible person. Some are less terrible than others, but nobody is really, truly likable. Its humor centers around how awful everyone is to each other and plays off of their mutual contempt. It's a misanthropic comedy, and my word if it isn't some of the most hilarious stuff ever. It's clearly not going to appeal to everyone, and the content has more than earned its mature rating. It's hard to describe the appeal of the "that's so terrible, it's funny" style of humor, but if you're in the right mood for it, this is some seriously funny material. The titular character, Sterling Archer, is one of the biggest douchebags you will ever see, and he is awesome to watch. And I love how as the show progresses, it gets more and more ridiculous. It starts out as an agency full of terrible people, but one that at least seems like it's functioning properly. But as time goes on, they all get progressively crazier and crazier until it becomes really unclear how anything ever manages to happen around this place. Now, it's very dialogue heavy, and its dialogue is absolutely brilliant. You know how when people are having a conversation but not really listening to each other, and then the conversation starts to overlap as they talk over each other? You don't really see that very often in TV and movies because TV and movie dialogue is generally very back and forth. But Archer's characters talk all over each other, and it's brilliant because it feels natural and organic. It doesn't feel scripted or rehearsed. It legitimately sounds like two people talking who don't give a crap about each other. And that's what makes it so freaking funny. Now, the animation is, to be blunt, not great. But it really doesn't have to be for what it is. It's less a case of the animators being sloppy and more a case of they knew exactly how good the animation needed to be in order for the show to work and just didn't shoot any higher than that. It is hampered by the common problems of flash animation. Do you remember back in kindergarten when you made a paper doll that could move by cutting out each limb individually and then tacking it together with pins? The movements are sort of like that, stiff and jerky. But you really don't watch Archer for quality animation. And like I said, they didn't aim high and fall short. They aimed exactly where they needed to be, and that's something it's definitely got going for it. The art style itself is easy enough on the eyes. It's realistic enough to set you in the mindset of spy drama, but cartoony enough to put you in the mood for comedy. When Philip DeFranco recommended this show, I was skeptical about it, but I checked it out because, animation's kind of my thing. I'll be honest, an episode in, I wasn't really sold, but I gave it a few more episodes and eventually the humor grew on me and I came to fall in love with this cast of miscreants. I think my favorite character is Pam. I think the reason is that in the beginning, she seemed like the only character who wasn't a total asshole, but then as the show continued, she began to become more and more terrible, just like the rest of them. I also love Krieger just because he has all the biggest WTF moments in the show. I don't know, it's not gonna be everyone's thing, definitely. But I really like it, and I wholeheartedly recommend it to anybody else who is into this kind of humor. If you are easily offended, though, maybe skip it.
Agent man, hey, giving you a number and taking away your name. Beware of pretty faces that you find. A pretty face can hide an evil mind.
Well, that's it for my little video on Archer. It's definitely a bit out of the norm for me, I guess, but next week I'm gonna get back to some fantasy adventure and something a little bit nostalgic. If you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you would like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Join me on Facebook or Twitter and let me know what titles you would like me to watch next. And I'll see you guys next